fans, and welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host, as always, Cammy. This episode of Cammy's Comic Corner has been brought to you by Valkyrie Squadron. From the creator of the hit webcomic Marsh Rocket comes a new sci-fi epic involving babes, bots, and big guns. Valkyrie Squadron, updating every Tuesday and Thursday at valkyriesquadron.com. And be sure to follow them on Twitter to get all the updates to the latest comics. Now, onto the review show. We have a huge week of comics, and I had to trim my Fast Five a couple of times. So, if I didn't pick a comic that you were like, oh, he should totally be talking about this one, not to worry, it was a hard decision for me. It was kind of like Sophie's Choice, but not really. The pick of the week from IDW, we have Locke Key, Keys to the Kingdom, number 6, written by Joe Hill and art by Gabriel Rodriguez. Now, last when we left Tyler and Zach, Zach had him at sword point, and he was about to go in for the kill, but then that darn detective Matuku has come by to check out and ask some questions. So he's kind of putting the pieces together of similar deaths with Sam Lesser and then Ellie Whedon's mother's death as well. Both necks have been cracked, halfway point, and that's how they broke. It was within the vertebra. It wasn't from the fall down the stairs like everyone thought, or an accident as they thought. So he starts going, okay, and she's coming by this old deceased professor's place every night relighting the candles. Something's up here, and sure enough, it is. He goes by, asks some questions. Zach doesn't like what he hears, and instead of finishing off Tyler, he goes after the detective. And so there's a big brawl in the kitchen. Ellie gets in the way, but he kills her and just gruesomely, tears her lips off. The guy is a fucking animal. Let's just, keep that in mind. And then he makes his grand getaway with Bodhi as captive. So now Tyler, once again with the music box, can't do a damn thing because he's frozen. And so as soon as, Zach leaves and flies off, literally flies off with Bodhi, that's when he can move. That's when he can tell the police what's up, where they're going to go next. So the whole plan of Zach's now is to give Sam Lesser his body and then go into Bodhi's body to act like the little mole in the Locke house, find the Omega Key, and get his wish. Well, Sam has some different plans. He kind of has a little revenge planned for Zach, and so it's a big tussle between Sam in Zach's body and Zach in Bodhi's body. And luckily, well, not for Sam, but for Zach, the help arrives in time. It's actually Bodhi's sister swinging around a blade, and I mean like hockey ice skating blade, completely killing what we thought was Zach. And so Bodhi's acting like, oh, thank God you saved me in time, when in fact it's not Bodhi, it's Zach. He's got his wish, and this was one hell of a conclusion to this story arc. Oh, God! The art in this is just, as usual, top-notch. The story had me just twists and turns. You think it's going to go one way last issue, but it goes a completely different way. And people are hurt big time. Big changes happen. And for the upcoming series in June, Clockworks, I don't even know what to expect anymore. I mean, we're going to go back to the well house? Are we going to... I don't know. I just don't know. What I do know, this was totally, hands down, pick of the week. You should go out, get the series, wait for it to be collected in trade, but do yourself a favor and read this pronto. Now, on to the Fast Five.
Popping bottles in the ice, like a blizzard.
First up from DC, we have Detective Comics 876. Now, it's a usual typical day at Gotham. People are just ready to go to work. They get to work, which happens to be at a bank, and there's a dead orca whale in the bank. What? But it's no ordinary orca whale. Apparently this female orca was bred in captivity and, given growth hormones or something because it's abnormally large. So when it's taken back to Wayne Enterprises' nice little crime lab that they gave to the police and the commissioner, it's discovered that there's a body in the whale, and it's a personal assistant to one Sonia Branch. Sonia Branch used to go by another name, Sonia Zucco. But Zucco is also the name of the gentleman who killed Dick's parents at the circus. So now Dick's kind of interested in if, apple's falling far from the tree, or if it's just a completely unrelated matter. He goes to ask questions with Sonia, but she's not talking. Apparently she's afraid of somebody, and after placing a little tap on the phone there, Dick can hear that a guy named Bixby Rhodes has something over her head, and she's finally willing to cooperate. So while he goes to check out Bixby Rhodes and his whole little deal, his little get-up, which is custom building cars in Gotham, with a little prize inside is actually guns. So it's a gun smuggling with custom cars. As Dick puts it, it's kind of like having the toy in your cereal box, as it were. But the thing I like about this Batman, Dick being this Batman, is he's not on the ball all the time like Bruce is. He still makes mistakes. And while they're not big mistakes, there's still enough mistakes of him to go into a little tight situation and not sure how to get out of it, whether it's having cars and a big car compactor, or, just finding that accidental trigger switch. It was a really good issue, good cliffhanger, and Jock's art, I'm so glad that he's back, because it has that extra grittiness that you get with the Batman comics, and that's why we're reading Batman, right? It's good story, good art, good times. Next up from Marvel, we have Future Foundation #2. Now, there's a new member to the Future Foundation, it seems. It's Dr. Doom. And not everyone's so happy with the decision, especially when Dr. Doom is making wisecracks at Ben's expense, causing... Well, first of all, it's really easy to get Ben angry, but just the certain little hints about Johnny Storm's death, and where was Ben with this? Watching his friend die with the children? That kind of is a trigger switch, that for sure. But why is Dr. Doom here? Because he needs the Future Foundation's help. He recently suffered some brain damage, and now it's up to the Future Foundation to find out how they can get him back to his old self, the old Dr. Doom, whether they like it or not. So the Future Foundation comes up with the idea of, a backup. And so Valerie keeps suggesting this to him, a backup, we need a backup. And he's like, yes, you're pestering me, child, what do you mean? And then he finally realizes, oh yes, I do have a backup. It is my heir to the throne, Kristoff. Kristoff has all of Doom's memories, and he's kind of chosen for this to, A, rule Latveria when Doom's away, and B, if Doom needs him for, say, a backup, he's right there at his fingertips. So now, Doom is back in his prime, and Val kept up her end of the deal. Now it's his turn to return the favor. What's this deal that Val and Doom have? Oh, well, Val's wish is to take down her own father with Doom's help. And now that's apparently what they're going to do. It was a very good issue. Steve Epting's art on this was fantastic. And then just Jonathan Hickman with this brilliant imagination, giving us so many great Future Foundation / Fantastic Four stories. And next issue we have the return of the Reeds, as in plural, as in the first arc, as in I love that arc. Tune in next episode to find out what's up next. Next up from Image, we have The Walking Dead #84. Now, last we left our heroes, Carl was shot in the face, and the zombie hordes were closing in on Rick and him. In this issue, Rick gets to go and drop off Carl at the doctor, has to hold back the zombies, so he goes right back out there to do such a thing, and it's just him. He is alone in his quest, and it looks like it's not looking good for him either. Then Michonne comes, and then Abraham, and then everyone else. And slowly but surely, them as a group, they destroy every single zombie that has made it into the compound. And it comes to this realization for Rick that he always saw them as people getting in the way. But these guys, these zombies, they're manageable. If we were to train ourselves to combat this menace like we just did, and have like different shifts or, just continuous onslaught of the zombies, we can do this. It's completely manageable. So now they're going to rebuild the compound because this is their home. They're sick of running. I mean, can you blame them if you're in their boots? But now we're all waiting to see what the result of Carl's operation is. Did the doctor have enough to make Carl, survive? Who knows? But what we do know is that this is continuingly the best series Image has out right now. And it's funny because it's black and white and not a superhero book. And apparently that's what's dominating the market nowadays. And I'm so glad to see books like this making a comeback in our society. I mean, yes, the TV show did help hook new readers, but just to see this going 84 issues strong still, take notice, everyone else. Take notice. Next up from DC, we have Justice League Generation Lost #24. This is the big finale of the Brightest Day event. We had Brightest Day end this week and Justice League Generation Lost. And of the two, I'm liking Generation Lost a hell of a lot more. Not saying Brightest Day wasn't all that great, but I'm really, ever since the get-go, I've been a fan of Justice League International, and so just to see that whole team back together in this book was really good, because we have OMAC Prime completely destroying this team and about to kill Wonder Woman, because Just like the regular Omax and Amazo with Dr. Ivo, he can absorb any hero's powers and then use it against them. So with Wonder Woman's strength, snap her neck pretty easily, right? You think? Well, it's Blue Beetle's really very cunning plan of letting him absorb the Blue Beetle powers, because then Jamie can talk to the alien Beetle and he can control the OMAC to stay in one place, as Captain Atom and everyone else, they just destroy him. Because of Captain Atom had to absorb his own power back, he's going to explode again. And when he explodes, or contains his own explosion, he goes and gets lost in time somewhere. So before he's on his way out, he makes sure to stop by the Booster Gold and Maxwell Lord fight, take Max and go, make everyone remember right fucking now. And sure enough, he does. And after everyone else remembers, oh, that's who Max Lord is. That's when he goes off, flies off into space, explodes. We'll see him later, I'm sure. But at the end of all this, Max gets away. He tries to show himself as, from now on, he's going to be a watchman of the superheroes and make sure that they stay in line. And Batman decides, hey, you know what would be a good idea? If we bring back Justice League International. So, one of my favorite series growing up is back in the headlines, and I can't wait to see who the creative team on this new series is going to be, let alone who's on the team lineup. So, keep an eye out for the future. It was good stuff nonetheless. And finally this week from Marvel, we have Avengers number 12.1. What? A .1? I know, I usually hate the .1s, but this is a rare exception because we have Bendis writing it and we have Brian Hitch on art. We have Jessica Drew hunting on, because she's in S.W.O.R.D., aliens in the Amazon. And this one alien in particular apparently is surrounded by a lot of people who want to see what's in the alien. So Jessica Drew gets kidnapped. And now it's up to the Avengers, because Abigail Brand of S.W.O.R.D. comes and says, hey, yeah, she's been kidnapped. I kind of need your help. They go off and find her. She's been kidnapped by the Intelligentsia, which gave the Hulk run for his money a couple of years ago. Last year, maybe? Yeah. But basically, it's MODOK. You got the Red Ghost. You got the Thinker. They get invaded by the Avengers after they try to wonder what Jessica Drew wants with the Space Knight. She doesn't even know what the Space Knight is. But they have a Space Knight, and after the whole destruction of their whole little headquarters, thanks to the Avengers, the Space Knight wakes up. And it's not a Space Knight anymore. It's Ultron. Ultron is back from space, and now he's looking to give the Avengers some shit. And Tony Stark isn't happy with this. I mean, who would be? It's Ultron. He's smarter than everyone on planet Earth. And now he's back. Great. Just what the Avengers need. Well, comic book fans, that does it this week for Cammy's Comic Corner. If you want more Cammy's Comic Corner goodness, you know where to go. www.cammyscomiccorner.com. From there, every Wednesday we have Geeky Talkie episodes. Every Friday we have the comic covers that I love to talk about. And then at the beginning of the month, the Book of the Month episode. And at the end of the month, the Top Shelf Selection. Look at the top shelf selection for the end of April. It was Gingerbread Girl by Paul Tobin and Colleen Coover. My review is up already. Go check it out. Once again, this episode has been brought to you by Valkyrie Squadron. From the creator of the hit webcomic Marsh Rocket comes a new sci-fi epic with babes, bots, and big guns. Valkyrie Squadron at ValkyrieSquadron.com. Be sure to follow her on Twitter, her being Jules Rivera, the creator, and follow the comic on Twitter as well, just to make sure you do not miss an update. So that does it this week for Cammy's Comic Corner. I have been your host, Cammy. I gotta go make sure Ultron doesn't start looking through my hard drives, because I've got some really incriminating evidence on there involving cartoons and porn and cartoon porns. Did I say that out loud? Rule 34, I swear! It was Rule 34!